Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I am continuing to work on my weekly collage planner, the Margarete Miller collage planner. And we are to week number 27 already. And this week's prompts, I did pull out a few things already to work with, but this week's prompts are something with a bumpy surface. And so I pulled out a couple of things. I have this little burlap paper that has a definite bumpy paper to it. And then I also pulled out these stickers, and they came from the Dollar Tree a long time ago, but they have a bumpy kind of embossed surface on them, so I could use one of these or this little burlap paper that I have. The next one was anything that can blow in the wind, and the first thing I thought about was this rubber stamp that I have, and it's kind of like a dandelion, and it's kind of blowing the little seed pods in the wind. And it is from Hero Arts. I've had this in my collection for a long time. I don't know. It is called Dandelion, and the number is G4917, in case anybody is interested. But it's one I've had in my stash for a long time. So I did go ahead and stamp it in black on two different pieces of neutral paper that are very similar. And I think I'll probably end up going around it with some distress ink on one of those when I use it. And then so I'm going to use that for my anything that can blow in the wind. Something in the shape of a triangle. And so I was going through some of my past stuff in my pile that I didn't use in previous collages, and I came across this paper scraps from Graphic 45 from one of their collections. And so it's like a little cheesecake or some sort of sweet treat that's in the shape of a triangle. And then there's also this one up here in the shape of the triangle. So I'm probably going to try to use these just to use up some more things from my scraps. So that was something in the shape of a triangle. The next thing is lined paper. And so I pulled this out of my scrap paper collection. It's just a piece of scrapbooking paper that has some lines on it. It looks like book paper, or not book paper, but like ruled lined paper from when we went to school. And then a number or numbers. And so I do have these rub-ons that come from Seven Gypsies, and I've used a couple of them, but there's a lot of numbers on here. And then I also had this scrap piece of paper that I pulled out that I'd used in something else a little while ago, and it had numbers on it. So I'm leaning towards probably using one of these, but I do have the scrap paper to play around with. And then the last item was bonus instructions, and I did find some instructions the other day, and I don't know where I set them down, but I think that there are a number of items here to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that's good enough. So I'm probably just going to skip the bonus for this week for the instructions, because just looking at some of my pieces, they're a little bit bigger, and I only have so much room to play with. So I'll try and come out with a layout real quick and then put it all together. So something bumpy. I think I'm kind of leaning towards getting rid of this scrap piece of paper. These just seem kind of shiny for right now looking at some of my other items, and I don't know that owls go very well with sweet treats. I mean, I could maybe use the heart, so maybe on the heart, but for right now I'm going to set those aside. So for the bumpy, I'm going to use this burlap paper. And for now, I might just set it up here in the corner. Anything that can blow in the wind. So I have this. Something in the shape of a triangle. So if I use this big piece right here, for sure, I can set that right down there maybe to layer that up. Some lined paper. So I could stick that behind or do another little layer, or maybe I'll do this at the bottom. I would just need to cut it down a little bit, and I could layer that still on top of it, and then that would maybe still work for layering and still look somewhat cohesive, even though they don't really all belong together. So that looks okay. Line paper, a number or numbers. So I do have this, which I could, I suppose, just put up there maybe. That would fit up there for the numbers. And I still could do a rub-on. I wish this paper was slightly bigger just to cover up that line down there, but I can see if I can push this down a little bit. I might be able to make it all fit. Yeah, I could, if I'm careful, I think I could get them all to fit and cover up the background. And so then I still, if I wanted to use that, which I still need to use this, and I could just layer this somehow on the side here. And then I also would like to use this just to use it up. So maybe we can go something like that. And then I think I still want to use one of these numbers and maybe just rub it down here on the paper. So let's see. I think this one's standing out to me. I could put that one right there, the 2879, or even this number 236474. I think I'll use this. See, of course, it always has to be the one in the middle that you want, right? So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round the corners on this little dandelion. I think I'm going to like that better. And this one needs to be trimmed a little bit. So I'm going to cut these to be the same size. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink my edges on a couple of these. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all these down, and then I'll come back and I'll do the rub-on with you guys on camera, just in case you guys are not familiar how to do these with the little popsicle stick. And then I'll be able to call this layout good. So I will be back after I have this layout glued down, and I think I'm just going to use tacky glue. These are all kind of thicker pieces of scrapbooking paper, so I'm going to go ahead and use tacky glue to glue all these down. So I did just finish gluing everything down, and other than adding the number down here, I decided that I probably needed another little something up here to finish off just the layout. It's kind of random anyways with the dandelion and the sweet treats there. So I did go back and look at my two little sticker sheets of the owls and the hearts, thinking I could probably add one of these on here for another bumpy item. And I decided on, I think, one of the owls. So I cut this little guy out. And I think I'm going to just stick him right here. And again, I never trust stickers long term in any types of my journals or layouts. So I always use a little bit of extra glue on them, just to make sure that they're going to adhere pretty good and stay for a while. And so I'm just going to stick this little guy right there. He's kind of cute, I think. So we'll stick him right there. So he's another element for the something bumpy along with the burlap. And then the last thing I need to do is add the little rub-ons. And for those of you who are not familiar with rub-ons, usually there's kind of a clear acetate type sheet that has numbers on it. And there's usually a protection sheet behind it. So you want to take this sheet off. And then you go ahead and lay it down exactly where you want it on your layout. And it sticks a little bit, so it's not quite easy to pick up. And then they usually give you like a popsicle stick or some sort of applicator type stick. And you just go ahead and you start rubbing. And I know you can't probably see it very well on camera. I'll see if I can zoom in as I'm rubbing. But where I'm rubbing, it is a lot lighter, and where I haven't rubbed yet, it's a little bit darker of a black color. And that way you kind of know that it's starting to stick onto your paper or your project. And then what I do is I just kind of slowly lift up on the little acetate piece. And if you leave most of it in place, if you happen to leave a little bit of the black, you can still stick it down and rub it down. But it looks like I got it all. And then you shouldn't see any more black left on your little acetate sheet. And so that one's all rubbed down. So that is good. So I think I'm going to call that good for my final layout. And I'll just go through the list one last time with you guys. Something with a bumpy surface. So I have the owl sticker and the burlap paper. Anything that can blow in the wind. I have a dandelion. Something in the shape of a triangle. I have the little sweet treat right here, a little cheesecake, and then also up here. Lined paper, which is down here, which is some scrapbooking paper, a number or numbers. And so I have this little rub-on from 7 Gypsies with the random number sequence. And then the bonus again was instructions, which I am choosing to ignore this week. And so that is my final layout. I just wanted to say thank you again, everybody, so much for watching. I really appreciate it and all your comments. And I guess any final thoughts that I have on the project is I like the layout. It's probably not one of my more favorite ones, but it's not one of my least favorites. It's just kind of somewhere in the middle. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Happy crafting, and hopefully see you guys back next week to check out week number 8 or 28 of my Collage weekly planner. Until then, take care, everybody.